Dawson, so impressive. Now there's Johnson working on the inside, but look, great combinations downstairs. He comes upstairs. You see, that freezes Johnson. Later on in the round, Glenn Johnson would have a moment or two. There's the right hand. That is such an important punch for Johnson, and he was able to get it in early.
All right, cut him off.
Come on, son.
Pick it up.
Work on that hand.
Pick it up.
Come on.
Good instructions from Chad Dawson's trainer, former light heavyweight champ Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. Don't go straight back because you're still in the path of the punches. You got to give side to side.
This is the second fight Eddie Mustafa Muhammad has worked with Chad Dawson. Floyd Mayweather Jr. was with him before. Eddie, a very fine trainer. Oh, look at that right hand by Johnson. He can get that punch in. That'll be important to him.
So Johnson's confidence gaining there as it continues to stay on top of Chad Dawson.
Oh, this is a fight. Let me tell you, this is going to be a great match.
Terrific two-way action. It is sustained.
Chad Dawson strategically, I think, is staying on the inside a little more than they would want with Johnson. It's just my feeling. It's not that he's not doing good work, but he's also putting himself in harm's way against Johnson.
He's gotten to this point, all of this success, by being tactical. And if he stays inside on Glenn Johnson, he could be asking for trouble.
Great body work a moment ago by Dawson. He's such a superb body puncher.
Dawson is ring smart. He's had some defensive issues. His impressive offense usually bails him out.
Don't push, don't push.
But then again, this is the first time he's ever been in there with somebody the caliber of Glenn Johnson. Oh, big right followed by a left hand by Chad Dawson. Thudding punches.
Johnson's getting his jab in a little bit. For all those great combinations by Dawson, the jab of Johnson's getting over that right hand a little bit.
Johnson missing with the right there. Now Dawson digging to the body, then upstairs. There's that hand speed. Back comes Johnson with the right hand to the head of Dawson. A straight left by Dawson. Not a lot of steam behind it. Dawson's quickness makes Johnson miss with the right. Then Johnson goes to the body. Back comes Dawson with double lefts.
This is going to be a war of attrition, and a big issue is going to be whether the 39-year-old Glenn Johnson can continue to take this kind of punishment, keep up the pace, and still go after Chad Dawson.
Johnson coming straight in, nails Dawson with a right cross to the chin, and then a left hook to the head. Back comes Dawson with a straight left. Off to a sizzling start here.
This is really an excellent matchup, and both men are doing what they do best.
Stirring action over the first two rounds.
I think if Chad Dawson had one thing he'd like to improve on, it's maybe a little more use of the jab. As brilliant as his combinations have been, I think that's a punch he would like to use a little more of.
And he has a good one. Final seconds of the second round. Dawson spins him around and then fires a barrage. And back comes Johnson, and then Dawson answers it.
All right. Hey, good work. Put it on the side. Put it on the side. Good work, Jim. All right, give me the mouth. Give me the mouth. All right. Listen, we're still off. You need to step a little bit. You need to step a little bit behind your jab. All right? You picked it up this round a little bit more than last round.
Glenn Johnson got off to a pretty good start in that round as Dawson threw those combinations. There's the right hand and then a straight left to follow. The right was the most important punch in that sequence. But Chad Dawson, who won that round, did so with dazzling combinations. Look at that, two straight lefts. That's an odd combination, but it made it work. And those straight punches right up the middle, very effective against Glenn Johnson, especially when Chad Dawson shows that kind of distance.
Chad Dawson shows us something new every fight, doesn't he, Al?
Yep, he does, and he tries to improve on things. And he felt that his balance and some movement would be different tonight.
And Dawson comes out firing to begin round three. It has been scintillating action to this juncture.
You know, I mentioned earlier that Alex Murillo, the strength and conditioning coach of Dawson, really upped his work in this. It is going to be important because this is going to be a grueling battle for however long it goes.
Hard body shots by Chad Dawson. Aren't you supposed to respect the elderly? What's Dawson thinking?
I'll tell you what, Glenn Johnson at age 39 is really a wonder, because you see him in there with this young, dynamic champion trading, taking punishment, and coming back with good punches of his own. Dawson's doing the right thing here by just giving just enough lateral movement to Johnson to make him think about where he's got to move to.
Yeah, he's not going straight back anymore. Dawson, he learned his lesson the hard way in the first round. And he takes instructions well. Good shot to the chest by Chad Dawson. He followed up with a combination.
First really good uppercut thrown a moment ago by Dawson. That could be an important weapon in this match for him against the shorter Johnson. He's got a good one.
Dawson's so respectful of Johnson. Absolutely no trash talk. You're not going to get that out of Johnson, that's for sure.
Yeah, Glenn Johnson might be the nicest man in boxing. He really is.
Absolutely. There's a good left uppercut that got in by Dawson, and then Dawson digging to the body. Back comes Johnson with a right hand that came up short.
You know, Glenn Johnson is forcing Chad Dawson to be great tonight, and Dawson, for the most part, has been. I mean, he's been offensively a whiz in this fight.
Yeah, showing his diversified arsenal, his variety of punches, his speed. Now he's scoring while he's backpedaling. And that is not an easy thing to do. Not many fighters could do that. There's a nice counter right to the head by Johnson. Perfect timing, then an uppercut on the inside by Johnson. Another uppercut on the inside, and that's where you want to throw those. Here's a good flurry by Glenn Johnson.
He's worked so well on the inside, and he showed every punch in his arsenal there.
Back comes Chad Dawson. Tremendous ebb and flow.
This is great.
And it has been non-stop.
You know, tactically, the last 45 seconds of this fight isn't exactly what Dawson wants. I don't know if it's enough for Johnson to have won this round. Big right by Johnson. Wow.
Dawson should not be on the inside with Johnson. Great finish by Glenn Johnson. And he poses for the crowd of Solosa.
You're getting caught by dropping your hands. That's all you're doing. All right? You got to step around like you're doing to keep the jab on. Okay? Keep stepping around like you're doing. Easy fight. Okay?
The beginning of the round went pretty well for Chad Dawson. Working very well to the body, and he's a terrific body puncher. But as the round went on, after these flurries, the distance got close between the two, and the 39-year-old Warrior started to land some great shots on the inside. That was a monstrous right hand, and the hook followed. And these punches, I think, stunned Chad Dawson. He was tentative here and whacked with those two right hands. Big moment for Glenn Johnson.
What a ferocious attack by Glenn Johnson, and that has opened the eyes.
I don't know if
Chad Dawson.
Let's go.
I don't know if he's steady for this round.
Yeah, he looks disoriented. He might be on unsteady legs. He may have not even recovered from that last torrent of punches towards the end of the third round.
Well, we said the right hand might be what started the trouble, and Glenn Johnson's been landing some big rights, and that one right really got the job done.
Now it's Dawson who is on the receiving end of some very hard punches. He comes back with a straight left, but it doesn't stop Chad Dawson. Or it doesn't stop Glenn Johnson. He just keeps coming forward.
I mentioned that Johnson is 7-1 against left-handers. He knows how to fight them. He gets inside, he cranks those left hooks to the body and the head. He's got a good straight right hand.
And now Dawson is going back to fighting from the outside, being more tactical, throwing the jab and the straight left. And there's a hard body shot by Johnson. And also he's moving side to side. Right off the side of the head, a straight hand by Johnson that got Dawson's attention.
Glenn Johnson is closing the distance. He's landing some big shots.
Yeah, now Dawson again is making the mistake of staying inside. Now he steps back out.
You know, the jab of Johnson is changing this fight as well. He's landing that. That's what's setting up those right hands.
Near low blow by Dawson. He may be getting frustrated. Johnson, his work rate is unbelievable. His punch output.
I'll tell you what else has changed. Dawson's punches have less steam on them right now.
I think he's hurt. Yeah, there is less sting. All of these punches are taking the starch out of Dawson. But a straight left by Chad Dawson. But this steady flow, big right hand by Dawson, goes to the body. I'll tell you what.
He's a great combination player.
He is, and he's showing a lot of guts here because he is really taking some big shots by Johnson. But back comes Dawson, and back comes Johnson, and then Dawson answered.
Glenn Johnson is taking Chad Dawson to a place he has never been before.
It's somewhere between heaven and hell.
Yep.